Hello guys and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm here with Mushoku Tensei Season 2 episode number 21 reaction. Okay, the previous episode we were in Rapan and there we met Paul. We had, like obviously we kind of catch up. Paul talks to us, like Rudy talks to Paul after a long amount of time, met each other, and he kind of explains to us what is going on. So basically in the labyrinth, which is called the teleporters labyrinth, apparently Zenith has been seen, but it's a very difficult labyrinth and they are having struggles with it. Also, Roxy got caught in one of the teleporters and got teleported somewhere in the dungeon, so she cannot be found. So all that stuff happened, and over there Eleniz had her closure with Paul. Paul apologized, Eleniz was like, it's fine, whatever, forgave him, all that stuff. And then we were off to the dungeon, and with the help of Rudy and everyone, and with Rudy's book that he brought for the teleporter labyrinth, we were able to easily clear the floors. In one such floor, Rudy comes across, I think, like a false, like a false wall or something, and he realized something's going on, and that is where we find Roxy. So Rudy in the end helps Roxy defeat a few of the monsters and saves her, and that is where it ended. So let's see what happens in today's episode. Let's begin. This is episode number 21. I'll be putting the subtitles and the timer here. Sync it to whichever is a preference, and let's get started. Okay, here's the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, yeah, marking so that don't get lost. Wait, are they showing what happened before Rudy came and helped Roxy? I think so, yeah. Okay, so she has been teleporting from place to place trying to find the correct path, but she ends up circling the thing. Okay. Yeah, right. Oh my god. Okay. And now, yeah. Damn. Okay. Obviously, she's surprised. She's like, how? How is Rudy here? Because obviously they had no clue that Rudy can come here this quickly. What the? Hello? Okay. 1 month? Damn. Wait, so where is she getting food from? Wait, does she not recognize him? I guess because he was so young. But the face is the same. Are you for real? Wait, what? Wait, she went on a whole journey to find Rudy and everything. Did he just throw up on his own mouth? Wait. What? Okay, like I can understand Geese not recognizing him because Geese just saw him a one month, I think. I don't know how long, and he was a kid back then. But even when Rudy was like, oh, like I don't know, like how are you, and he immediately recognized. He was like, oh, Rudy. Roxy, even though I guess Roxy did spend like Rudy when Rudy was like 5 or something. I think that's when Roxy came in contact with Rudy, and then she went on her own way. But still, she spent at least I think like 5 years with Rudy, as far as I can remember. So even if she cannot recognize him, she should still at least, I don't know. Oh wait, am I forgetting something? Did Roxy like lose her memories or something? Am I forgetting something from the previous seasons? No, I don't. No, Roxy went on the whole journey to find Rudy and everyone else, like after the Mana disaster and all that, like. And yeah, now she's working with Paul. Yeah, obviously she cannot really forget him, so she cannot recognize him. Okay. Hmm. Okay, there you go. There you go. So she couldn't recognize him. You couldn't recognize him. I guess we have been seeing Rudy for every single season, but for Roxy, it's like such a big gap. Hmm. Oh my god. Hmm. Okay. Wow, so she was like stuck there for 1 month. I wonder what she was doing for food. Maybe she had something with her. Yeah, yeah, found God. Because the shrine and everything. Mr. Rudius. Hmm. Well, you guys spend a long amount of time. Wow. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah, but we have to think about Zenith. Yeah. Why? Why? Ah, okay. You know what? That's a good point. Yeah, PTSD. It's not a curse, but it's just. I see. Makes sense. We'll find that. Okay. Hmm. Okay. What's he doing? Oh boy. Oh boy. Mm. Yeah. Oh god. Mm. Well, yeah, you think that's what's happening? Okay. Right. Oh my god, these things again. Damn! Combo attacks. Good god. Hmm. Sure. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, I- I'm guessing she's still feeling like, tired for the because it's like 1 month. Hmm. All right. Oh wait, this is fourth floor. Wait. Hmm. Okay. Okay. So this is the fourth floor. All right. Oh my god. Is there? Oh, I thought it was like traps or something. Wait. Wait. Why? Oh. Okay. So ice. Oh, okay. Quagmire. Yes. Volgasm. Ah, I see. Yeah, because of her. So she's right hand. Yeah. Okay. Oh boy. Hmm. Probably he's been fighting for a long time. Oh, okay. Right. Yeah, he's like, damn, my son. Oh my god. Uh, but we cannot rush it as well because otherwise we will be all tired out. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Tch. Oh my god. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Exaggerating maybe. Right. You would invent 10 or 20 others. Right. Oh, it was 2 years. Okay. I thought like 5 years or something. Okay. Hmm. Damn. Oh, is this a new sword? Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to the fifth floor. Hmm. I wonder how big this labyrinth is. How many floors there are in total? Okay. That book is literally like a walkthrough book, like a guidebook. Like, oh, you have to do this when you go to this place. Oh. Alright, whoa, this. What? Ah, so from here on we're blind. Yeah, but there's three teleporters this time. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Um. Okay, I think she still doesn't know that Rudy's married. Right. Okay. What is a trap? Oh God. Wait, can Rudy use his eyes? Maybe. I don't know how. Ah. Wait. Oh. Okay. From the vibe of this room. Hmm. Maybe this place wasn't the last room on this floor. Ah. Yeah. Oh, probably just instinct. As an adventure. Oh. I can kind of guess what he's going to tell him. Yeah. Two souls. Yeah. Oh my god. Paul? Wow. I just realized what he's implying. Good lord. This guy. I realized what he's trying to say. Oh my god. Oh. Something is missing. Wait. Hidden staircase. Oh. Wait, so. Oh. There's a cave under here. Okay, so. Wait, so all of these were traps? I'm guessing? Or I don't know. So this wasn't supposed to be the final room. Yeah? She was ready to smack him. Oh, there you go. Yep, so those three were traps. And that's what Rudy was saying, like, if this is the final room, because. Right. Magic circle of the sixth room. Okay. Oh wait, so they just explained how this is like the final stop before like the dungeon boss or something, he said. Wait, so is this like is the next floor the final floor? So Zenith should be there, shouldn't she? If she is here in this dungeon, which I'm sure she is, otherwise, I think it'll be kind of anticlimactic. Hmm. 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 Okay, is that it? Was there? Nah, that is it. Okay, so that was today's episode. That was episode number 21 of season 2. So wait, I think like 3 more episodes after this. So I think we have plenty of time to probably go and rescue Zenith, and then maybe end this season. So first of all, today's episode was basically Rudy. Obviously, in the beginning section, Rudy helps out Roxy, and then they go back to the town and stay there for a few days. I think like 3 days or something. No, a few days for Roxy to recuperate, and then after Roxy becomes okay, they're like, all right, let's wait for 3 days. And here's a very interesting thing. Like I love how this show, how the characters are like, oh, like stuff that we know, stuff like PTSD, carbon monoxide poisoning, these type of things, they like have their own, I guess you could say, way of like referring to them. For example, in the previous episode, I remember Talhan saying that do not use fire. Then if we use fire in dungeons, poison comes out. Obviously they do not know like the scientific, the terms and the way to explain that, so that's why they're like, oh, poison comes out. But obviously, as Rudy says, like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense because of oxygen deficiency, carbon monoxide poisoning. That's what they probably mean. Today's episode, for example, brought out another one of those things where they were saying like, oh, Roxy needs to go back to the dungeon within 3 days. If she doesn't, a curse will set on him. So any adventurer who doesn't go back to the dungeon which traumatized them within 3 days, a curse gets put on them, so they have to go there. So in their way of understanding, it's a curse. But obviously Rudy knows. Rudy's like, oh, they're talking about PTSD, which it makes so much sense because they have like their own explanation for it. They think like I'm sure they have gone through situations like this before as well, where a certain adventurer probably fell into a trap, got trapped in a dungeon, had a lot of traumatic experiences, came out of the dungeon and never went back. And then after like 1 or 2 months of resting, they were probably like, all right, you know what, let's go back to the dungeon. They tried to go back to the dungeon, they couldn't. Their hands probably started shaking, they probably started sweating, they probably wasn't able to gather the courage to go back in, started getting afraid, and memories started flashing back to when they were stuck and the way they were traumatized. So they never are able to go back to the dungeon after that. So in their head, their logical explanation for it is that, oh, it's a curse of which makes you unable to go back to the dungeon. But obviously we know what it's actually is. It's PTSD. So yeah, like this it's very interesting. Like they have like their own explanation for stuff like this, while obviously we know like the scientific reason for it, and we like have special terms for each of the scientific things that they do not have like a proper answer to. It's very interesting. And yeah, so I really like that part in today's episode where they literally they explain that. I'm like, damn, that's very interesting, the way they kind of do these. Not only that, a few other things. For example, after that, you can pretty much see that Roxy is actually kind of, I guess you could say, like attracted to Rudy or something like that. Obviously because like I guess she was freaking stuck in that place for 1 month and more, and like lost all hope and everything, and then suddenly someone pops up and saves her from that situation. Obviously she probably, and not only that, I guess she just I don't know, yeah, so she's starting to, I guess, like that kind of thing. It's actually funny that so here's the thing. I didn't realize this, but today's episode it's pretty much obvious. The fact that she wasn't able to recognize Rudy, so basically she didn't know when she got saved and when Rudy came in, and Rudy was like, oh, hello, like, how are you, or something like that. And then you can see immediately, Roxy starts blushing. I thought that it was probably because she was relieved. Like, obviously she was relieved and all, like that's also probably the reason why she was blushing. And she probably was blushing because also she was almost about to cry because of the whole situation. But now that I'm thinking about it, and also I guess I thought in the previous episode and the beginning of today's episode, I thought like the fact that she saw Rudy like a familiar face, that's why she was like, like that. But now I realized she confirmed it that she didn't realize it was Rudy at the beginning. So the fact that she started blushing at that point probably means she started blushing just looking at Rudy and looking at him as a stranger. you know and I remember this, like, I think, which episode was it, in one of the previous episode, or I think was it one of the comments, I don't remember exactly. But people, like, I think, like, someone mentioned that Rudy, Paul, and their family tree, their generation, they are actually, obviously, like, they're very attractive, like, they have like a good chiseled face, like a very attractive face. So normal people, they, from, like, from outer appearances, they like, obviously they get, like, like, the like a lot of eyes turned to them. So I think that's probably also one of the reasons why Roxy was just like flabbergasted at that moment and looked at Rudy. She didn't recognize Rudy at first. So that, I'm guessing, that's also one of the reasons, like, that relief and every single thing at the same time probably crashed together in her head. And she was just like, just like mouth wide open. She was just staring at Rudy. Then I just realized another thing. So the fact that Rudy hugged him, she didn't know it was Rudy. She probably thought, what the hell is happening? Why is this random guy coming and hugging me? That must have been extremely confusing. That's why she kind of, like, like, pushed him away, if you remember. So she didn't know at that point that it was Rudy. So for her, she's like a random dude came in, helped me, and started hugging me. She's like, what the fuck's going on? Right. So that's what's happened. Okay. Now, I don't know, at the very beginning when Roxy was like, who are you? At first I was like, okay, maybe she cannot recognize him. It's been a long time. Like, obviously. Like, Rudy was like this small when Roxy met him and left. Now Rudy is this. So, like, it's obviously it's going to, like, mess with you. You cannot, like, really recognize them. Or even if you haven't forgotten them, you probably couldn't tell at one glance that, oh, this is Rudy. But I feel like us as audiences, since we're literally seeing Rudy growing up every single episode, I think for us it's like a very foreign concept that someone couldn't recognize him, because we're literally seeing him every single day. So it might be surprising to us. We might be like, oh, like, why can she not recognize him? Like, they look the same. Which is true. Obviously, when Rudy was this little, his face, and now his face is still the same. The face hasn't really changed that significantly. He doesn't have a beard or anything. It's not that he's unrecognizable. But the whole concept of, like, someone that you've seen who's this small is suddenly this big, that whole concept is so, like, it's like a big amount of ear gap. It's easy to, I guess, not really, like, understand immediately that, oh, this is that person. So I can understand. At first I was like, wait, how can she not recognize him? Like, he literally has the same face. But then I kind of, like, I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that why she couldn't recognize him, because we are seeing Rudy every single day. Obviously, for us, we will be like, oh, why cannot she recognize her? But for her, it's how many years? Like 10 years or something? She hasn't seen him. Rudy has gotten extremely tall. Someone who was shorter than her, has become taller than her. Like, that is the amount of difference and the amount of time that went. So, at that point of time, and obviously at that point of time, she was in such a, like, dangerous situation, in, like, trapped in this place. So at that moment, I guess it probably didn't connect in her head, or she wasn't able to realize that it's Rudy. But yeah, for a moment I was like, wait, did I miss something? Did she, like, lose her memories or something, like in one of the previous seasons that I've forgotten? But no, it was plain just she didn't recognize that this was Rudy. She remembered Rudy, but she didn't recognize him. That was the case, basically. So yeah, and then after that, like, after 3 days, they go in and they start clearing out the floors. Now here, like, after doing all of these things, like, we come across that scene, where Paul comes in, and Paul is like, Rudy, I have something to tell to you. Now here's the thing. This is actually like, the way he said that, I I'm actually baffled. He was even able to thought of like, he was even able to think of something like that. Where is that part? Let me go to that part. Um. Okay, where is it? What is it exactly? Listen, Rudy. Here we go. Right now, I am using two swords. Back then, it was enough for me to use one, but now I don't feel comfortable if I don't have both. This is I'm attached to both of them, and they have different roles. You will understand eventually. How does he think of this? Okay, obviously it's pretty obvious. Like, I guess not pretty obvious, but it's pretty damn obvious what he's trying to say. He's basically talking about his situation and Rudy's situation as well, in a way. His situation, obviously, he's talking about the two swords, obviously implying Zenith and Lilia. You know, first, as he says, first, it was I had one sword, which is obviously Zenith, but like now I'm using two swords. I've gotten comfortable with both. If there's one missing, I don't feel comfortable anymore. Something like that, he says. So obviously he's talking about like Zenith and Lilia. Also, he's also implying the fact that obviously Rudy is married. So like this is the thing. I think I mentioned this in one of the previous episode reactions, where I was like Aries. I thought that like Aries and Rudy is going to get together. Never in my wildest dream did I ever imagine that Sylvie is going to get married to Rudy. So I was like, how is this going to work? Because like I'm like, Aries is definitely going to come. And then I said something like, maybe like Paul, like, it's obviously like this is like that, like an isekai. So I feel like there is a possibility that Rudy might get married again. There's a huge possibility behind that. And we've seen Sylvie, and as far as I have realized, Sylvie isn't really that opposed to like having another, like, I guess, wife or something like that, because you've seen Sylvie herself kind of mention it. I remember in one of the previous episodes where she said, like, I don't have a, like, like, since I'm an elf, there's a huge possibility I won't be able to get a kid, be able to have a kid, so you might take a concubine or something like that, she said. I don't remember, but obviously then after that she literally got pregnant. So that whole thing. But from Sylphie's, like, yeah, I don't think she's going to be that opposed, but at the same time, this is Rudy we're talking about. He's from the real world where stuff like this doesn't happen. So I do wonder if Rudy is going to be able to. But I guess Rudy's been staying here for like his entirety, from age one, and his dad himself has two wives. So I guess maybe he's used to it by now. I'm not really sure how this is going to go. But obviously, as a person from Earth, his like sense of like values or whatever, like, is very different from people here. But like I said, at the same time, he's been living here for a long time, so maybe he has started looking at this world in a different way. Yeah, you know what? I guess if you think about it, if you remember, the whole thing with Julie, if you remember, where he went to like the slave whatever, and bought Julie. If you remember that, you could see how he was like, oh, like, like he's so accustomed to it. So I guess that kind of proves that, obviously, like, the morals here and the morals back in the like, the Earth are very different. So the fact that he didn't hesitate while going and buying Julie probably means that he's gotten too accustomed to this world, and his sense of morals and values have completely morphed into this world's version. So maybe in that sense, like, I don't know, like, yeah. But I think I said that back then, that I don't know where this is going to go. If like Sylvie is going to be the one, or if later Rudy is going to take Eris as his wife as well. But I was not expecting Roxy though. I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting Roxy. But they're heavily implying, at least Paul is implying, and you can literally see Roxy's like blushing and everything. So I feel like instead of two, it might actually, like, I'm like 50% sure that later on in the future, Eris is definitely going to come back, and I'm definitely, like, I'm pretty sure that Ace probably will, I don't know, like, get married to Rudy. I'm not really, but I get this feeling that's going to happen because like with all the things that happened, with all the character development with Eris and Rudy, I'm pretty sure. But I didn't really expect Roxy because Roxy barely was here for like of the first season. She was just there for like I think 2 or 3 episodes and then she left. So I wasn't really expecting Roxy. But here suddenly like Paul bringing this up making me think that I don't know, like where this is going to go. But yeah, but I feel like I can understand where like I can understand where this is going to go, but I'm not really sure where this is going to go exactly how I think it's going to go. But this episode, like I think it actually, like I still had in my head, I was still thinking if it's going to go in the actual harem direction, but I feel like today's episode kind of made it clear. Like they made it extremely clear. Otherwise, Paul wouldn't have brought that up at all. The fact that Paul brought this up makes me think this is exactly how this is going to go. You know. So yeah, and however, like what I'm very curious to see is how Rudy's going to react to it, because I'm pretty sure that Rudy will not be able to accept it. Like I'm pretty sure about that, but then I don't know what's going to happen. Um. So yeah, and another thing, I'm like here's the thing. I think like I'm very much sure about Eris, but I'm not really sure about Roxy though, because I feel like Rudy just looks at Roxy as like a mentor. Like you can like I guess in today's episode we saw like Roxy, like, and I would have said in the previous episode that Roxy also sees Rudy as like just a student, but today's episode kind of completely like just took that and just shoved it aside. Like you can literally see Roxy's just started to like Rudy today. So I guess that's out of the whole like equation. But I still think Rudy looks at Roxy as like a mentor, a master, like a benefactor, that kind of thing. So like I said, I think I'm pretty sure that Eris is definitely going to come back later, and like something's going to happen with that. But I'm not really sure about Roxy though. You know what? Let's wait and see. Because even though Roxy, it seems like Roxy's pretty much like okay, I'm not really sure if Rudy will be able to accept it. You know what? There's no use speculating. Let's wait and see. But yeah, it was pretty freaking obvious what Paul was trying to say there, and like I had this question in my head, and I think it kind of got answered today. So it is going to go in that direction, because I like like as soon as like I think it was the previous season where they announced that Rudy and Sylvie is going to get married, and it actually seemed like they are getting married. They actually got married. I was like, wait a minute, I wasn't expecting this. Like, like I wasn't like expecting like this to happen so quickly. Like, what? And also the fact that like Eris, that whole thing, that misunderstanding that happened with Eris, that whole thing, and the fact that the show up until season 2 like completely pushed Rudy into the Eris's direction, and then suddenly like now Sylvie has suddenly come and taken like like the whole thing and became like the main heroine. I was like, what's going on? But yeah, I think today's episode, it pretty much gave us a hint that it's probably going to go in that direction. But yeah, let's wait and see. I'm pretty sure about Eris though, but I'm not really sure about Roxy. I'm you know what? Let's wait and see. Yeah, because I genuinely think Rudy doesn't really feel anything about Roxy. Like she just respects her. But I guess she literally has her underwear in the shrine, so so I don't. You know what? I'm not really sure. Let's wait and see. Like I said that she respects her. Yeah, he definitely respects Roxy. But then I just remembered he literally has her underwear in the shrine. Good lord. Anyways, yeah, let's wait and see. Okay, and that was today's episode. Basically, in the end, Rudy comes up with the whole, like the final room, and he was able to decipher how to go and find out like the, like the hidden room to it, and was able to, decipher the whole thing, and now we are ready to go into the final room. I think something like that. So yeah, let's see which direction this proceeds. And yeah, that was today's episode. Now, let me talk about this episode scene by scene. In the very first scene, we get to see Roxy, a little bit of a flashback, not a flashback, but like a recollection of how Roxy, you know, when she came, like got trapped here, what she did. So basically, she has been marking the place where she has come, and going through the teleporter and coming back and realizing that she's literally like just looping around. So basically, as she says, the first teleporter that she walks in, it takes her to a different place, and then there she goes to another teleporter, and it probably takes her to a different place as well. But eventually, it ends up to the same place. So basically, she's circling around, like 1, 2, 3, 4, like this, and it's like a maze, and ultimately the final path connects back to the same place. So they're literally trapped. She's literally trapped. And she can figure that out because she's marking the place. That's why she can figure it out. So she's like, this is not good. So I do wonder where she was getting the food from. Like I said, she says she has been here for 1 month. I'm guessing she probably had rations with her, maybe some food with her in her backpack or whatever. I think she had, probably. Maybe she has been living off of that. Probably. Either way, she is defeating the monsters, and like going back, trying again and again, and she's like, I have a dream. I want to be a teacher. I still haven't fulfilled it, and like stuff like that. And then finally, fast forward, Rudy has come and saved her. So here, like I said, I thought she was like just wide-eyed, wide-mouthed, looking at Rudy, probably because I thought that she was like fascinated by the fact that Rudy saved her, and that this is that little Rudy that she taught. I thought that's why she was so surprised. Turns out she didn't even recognize him. So she was clearly fascinated just by looking at Rudy and seeing, like some person, like some tall, good-looking person coming and saving her in her time of need. Yeah, I guess that's exactly what happened. Like, she didn't recognize Rudy, so she looked at him and she was like, damn, who is this? This Prince Charming who has come to save me. I'm sure that's what went in through her head. The fact that she didn't recognize Rudy, that's why. So, and then freaking Rudy, obviously Rudy thinks that she recognizes him, so he goes and like, no, Roxy Sensei, and goes and hugs her. So Roxy, since Roxy doesn't recognize Rudy, Roxy was like, what's happening? Why has this person suddenly come and saved me and now he's hugging me? So she gets completely like flustered here, just pushes him away, and she's like, I'm sorry, like, like I kind of stink probably, like, and then she's like, oh, thank you so much for helping me out. Then she's like, nice to meet you. My name is Roxy Miguria. Rudy's like, wait, what? Hello? Do you not recognize me? And she's like, no, who are you? And Rudy starts frothing through his mouth. Now here, like I said, here immediately I was like, wait, what happened? Did she like hit her head or something? Did she forget Rudy? Like anytime, like something that I forgot that happened in season 1 maybe or something? And then I was like, obviously, if something as drastic like that happened, I wouldn't forget it that easily. Like if like Roxy lost her memory or something. And then literally in the next scene after the opening, we see that yeah, it's nothing that serious. It's basically she didn't recognize Rudy because he has grown so much, So she didn't forget Rudy, but she didn't recognize this was Rudy. Either way, Talhand is giving like Roxy a piggyback while okay, so right, so Roxy's like, I don't stink, do I? It must be pretty bad for Rudy to have thrown out like that. At which Rudy's like, no, that wasn't because of that. It was because the fact that he couldn't recognize me, I went into shock. That's why. And here, Roxy's like, oh no, it's nothing that serious. It's just that I couldn't see the adorable Rudy I saw back then in you right now. And then Rudy's like smiling and everything. Right. Okay, so after that they come back, and obviously Roxy takes a little bit of a break. She recuperates. And after that, when she's back at her feet again, she like says like, "Oh, thank you every month, and sorry I wasn't able to help you guys out." You know. Okay, so yeah, obviously like Roxy has no idea that Rudy's married, and that he probably is going to have a kid. So she has no idea. So yeah, now here's the thing. Like I said, like even though in this world it's common to have multiple like like partners and like like marriages or whatever, you know, I don't really know how either Rudy or Roxy is going to take this, because it's pretty obvious Paul in the end kind of implied that, but I'm not really sure how both of them are going to take. First of all, I don't think Rudy sees Roxy as like someone like that. He just like respects her or something as a master. Even though Roxy does now see Rudy in a more, I guess you could say, affectionate or like like romantic way, I guess, from today's like interactions, it's pretty obvious. I still don't know how she's going to react to the fact that Rudy's already married, and if she wants to get married to Rudy, then she can, but Rudy's actually already married. And so I don't know how this is going to go through both of them, and how they both of them are going to take it, or are they even going to think about it. So yeah, I let's just wait, I guess. Not now, obviously we have more important issues to do now. We have to save Zenith, and then after that I guess all these things are going to come back, and we'll probably tackle all of these things later, not now. Either way, yeah. So after that, Rox is calling Rudy as Mr. Rudius, and Rudy's like, come on, call me Rudy like you usually did, you know. And Rudy's like, come on, if you call me Mr. Rudius, I'd rather like I'd rather want my dad to call me Mr. Rudius than you. Oh gosh. Anyways, and then Roxy's like, oh, you've gotten very tall, this and that, Either way, yeah, that's that. And then they're like, okay, you like Roxy needs to go back to a dungeon. They talk about the whole like curse thing. Like I said, I really like that part, because like stuff that actually happens which have a scientific explanation and reasoning nowadays. Here in this world, obviously they don't have that, but they have their own like way of explaining that. So they think that if people do not go back to the dungeon within 3 days, they'll get cursed. Obviously that's not the case. It's basically PTSD. So yeah. So either way, after that, they give Roxy the book that Rudy brought, and Roxy's like, okay, I'm going to read this. So everyone's taking like 3 days rest now. Roxy's reading the book, and Rudy's just hovering around, and Roxy's like, oh, like if you hover around like that, it will distract me. So come here, sit down, and help me out if you want to. So she asks Rudy quite a few questions about the book. Rudy answers them, this and that. Okay, then after 3 days, they go back to the dungeon. They're fighting, and Roxy's here with them now. Roxy's using ice to freeze them. Rudy's using his stone bullet or whatever the hell they call it to just pierce through the things, this and that. Okay, so up until now, they're like just flying through the dungeon floors. It's very easy for them. They have the book, everything, it's going very easy. Now here for a moment when they're resting, Roxy's like, oh, Rudy, can you please put your back like this? I'm going to kind of rest. And here they're like talking about the floor and everything, and Roxy's like, Rudy, after we save Zenith, will you come with me to dungeon, like dungeon delving like this, 2 of us? At which Rudy is like, yeah, sure, why not? Like, it'll be fun. And then Rudy's thinking like, it's thinking in his head like, oh, I also have my child to think about now, So I wonder if I'll be able to make time enough. But he's like, okay, all of that for later. For now, we have to save Zen. So that's that. And then they again are moving forward. Okay. Okay, so then they come across a few other monsters, and here, like armored warrior, I think. Roxy says like, do not use your, like the attack that you use. They can easily deflect it. So first we have to stop them on their tracks. So Rudy's like, okay, I'm going to use Quagmire, you guys take care of them. So she uses Quagmire. Paul and Ellen Elise goes and starts fighting. You can see Paul, obviously, like, Paul takes care of his target quite easily. Ellen Elise was having a little bit of trouble. That is why Rudy and Roxy backs them up, and they take out those enemies. And after this, Rudy's like, Dad, like, have you gotten stronger than before? And Paul is like, no, obviously not. I'm stronger than before. I've gotten weaker than before, like. And Rudy's like, okay. And this part is pretty funny because you can see they're moving forward, and Paul was very cool about it. Paul's like, I've become weaker, nothing like that. And then when she turns around and is like walking forward, he's like grinning, and Ines is like just like face palming at that. Obviously, he's pretty happy that Rudy said that. Oh, you've gotten stronger, like he's very happy about that. Either way, so they're basically like going to the new floors, coming back, like resting, going back the next day again, like this they're doing, so I think they like crossed floor 4 after that, and then they came back again, and then you can see Rudy and Roxy are like buying different stuff, which will be needed in the next floor. And yeah, all of those things are happening. Rudy buys like a sword for Elena Lee's, and yeah, so after that Rudy and Roxy are having a drink at the tavern, and Rudy's like, thanks for helping to try to find my family, and Roxy also says, don't worry about it, I had a lot of debt on, like Paul helped me out a lot, so this is the least I could do, and she kind of talks about herself. She talks about how like Rudy actually broadened her horizon. And if you remember in season 1, it actually did happen. If you remember in season 1, Roxy was the one who was teaching Rudy, but there was a point when Roxy realized that Rudy is so talented that he's going to overpass her, what was that called? Overtake her very quickly. So I remember the final, what was it called? Culminos or something? No. The cloud, the thunderstorm, whatever, like, I forgot the name of that spell that he taught Rudy at the very end of, as his graduation present or whatever. That was like the strongest, I think, like, spell that she could do at that point. But she realized that, yeah, like, I need to be better than this. I need to get stronger. So teaching Rudy actually did broaden her horizons. She realized that she needs to keep going further. So as she says here, she, after that, she became she went and studied magic again and became Water King class. So she's thanking Rudy for helping her give that motivation. Not only that, she says how my old comrades also praised me, this and that, and she says, like, I have a lot of debt towards you guys, and also she says, like, back when Paul hired me as your tutor, I had no work. I had to leave. What did she say? Like, I had to leave my. Where is that part? Okay, here we go. Back then I was exaggerating my abilities so people wouldn't look down on me. But you were already great back then? No, not here. Oh, here we go. I had no job and nowhere to. Wait a minute. Okay, your family has helped me a lot. After falling out with my teacher at the University of Magic, I had no job and nowhere to go. But your family was willing to take me in. There you go. Yeah. So she's like, I have a lot of debt towards you guys, so Let's Queen Zenith is the least I could do. So yeah. After that, like, we again move to the dungeon. We're going through the different dungeon, like rooms and everything, and finally we come to the final room, which will be taking us. Here we go. The last circle on this floor. Okay, so This is the 4th floor, so standing on this circle will be going to the 5th floor. Okay, oh no, yeah, okay, so after that they go to the 5th floor and they use that thing, that smoky thing, talfro tree, that whole thing. And here, after going across this whole thing, this 5th floor, they come across the final teleporter of the 5th floor. Yeah, this is where is the final room. Okay, it seems the writer of this book hasn't been able to advance more than this point. Right, so there's 3 magic circles now. So Risa, let me look at it, because obviously 2 of them are probably false and leads to a trap. And Roxy's like, oh, like, you can you read this or recognize all this? And he's like, oh no, I am not really that accustomed to it. Nanahoshi could have probably been able to do it. At which Roxy's like, wait, Nanahoshi, who's that? Is she your like lover or something? And he's like, oh no, obviously not. Like, Roxy's kind of relieved, I guess. But obviously that kind of proved, like, I wasn't really sure if Roxy knew that he's married or not, but this kind of proves that she still doesn't know. Okay, so here, okay, what happens here? Wait a minute. They say that 2 choice, huh? 2 options indeed. Damn, it had to be 2. What's wrong? This is a jinx. Usually we need to let Ghislaine choose or it'll end in failure. Really? Why Ghislaine? Does she have like her luck status is high or something? Whatever she chooses is the correct one. Is that why? I don't know. Even if they explained it, I probably forgot. But either way, Rudy's like, okay, let me investigate this room. So he's investigating the room and he's kind of realizing that this might have some similarity with that room back then, which the teleporter room that they used back then, with Elena Liz. And like Paul comes in and he tells Paul that it occurred to me maybe this place wasn't the last room of the floor, which we kind of see later on. He was correct actually. Yeah, this wasn't the last room. There's another room underneath it. So Rudy was actually correct here. Maybe there's another route. And Paul's like, oh no, like obviously not. That cannot be the case. And here Paul is like, okay, Rudy, I have something to talk to you about. Obviously, Paul has realized immediately what's going on, like seeing like the whole thing that's going on. However, he's like, I'm not going to say anything now because it's going to bring down the morale, or probably it's going to affect us, our productivity. So I'll tell you later at the end. At which Rudy's like, damn, you're just bringing up death flags. Either way, Paul's like, no, not now. But he does give a hint to Rudy. Obviously, that hint, I doubt Rudy was able to understand that. Obviously, how would he? He makes such an absurd, like, gives him such an absurd hint. I feel like very few people would have been able to recognize what the hell he's trying to say here. Like, I'm surprised I was actually able to get that at immediately as he said that. I think probably that line caught my ears where he said that back then it was 1, but now I have 2 swords and I don't feel comfortable if I don't have 2 swords. It caught my ears there. At first I was like, why is he talking about swords suddenly? And then I realized what he's trying to say. But obviously in no way would Rudy be able to understand that. I feel like a lot of people won't be able to pick up on that whole, like, this whole thing. Either way, he's like, I'm pretty sure Paul did it deliberately because he didn't want to make Rudy think much about it, or like get distracted. So he's like, I'll talk to you about it later. Either way, Rudy figures something out. Rudy's like, Geese, can you see if there's like a hollow like floor here or something? Geese does that and immediately realizes there is something. So he blasts through the floor and turns out there's another magic circle underneath it. So all these 3 would be traps. The original one was underneath. So Rudy was correct. This wasn't the final room. There was another room underneath that, and that is the true one. The true magic circle, which is going to bring us to the final room. Okay. Right. So yeah, they're like, brace yourself, let's go. So wait, so this is the fifth floor. Wait, so if the next floor is the final one, I'm not really sure if the next floor is the final one, but I think like they said something like the next floor will be like the dungeon boss room or something. If that's the case, then I'm guessing the next floor is the final one. If it is, so then it should be there. If not, then it was a whole like wrong information we have been chasing. I doubt that is the case. We literally see in the opening that Zenith is there, so I'm pretty sure Zenith is there. But yeah, let's wait and see. And yeah, there you go. So that was today's episode. That was episode number 21 of Mushoku Tensei season 2. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to press the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel or you haven't subscribed, comment down below anything you want to say, anything you want to let me know, I'll check them out. And that is it, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week with another episode of Mushoku Tensei. Until then, goodbye and have a nice day.